Hi, this is Isabella. I've always been intrigued by affairs. I spend a lot of time watching and talking to people who've experienced extramarital relationships in their lives. But the focal point of my young life was my parents' relationship. I watched them helplessly destroy their marriage. Still, I knew they loved each other deeply. And in my father's last days, he wept tears for my mother, although they had been separated for more than 5 years. My response to my parents' pain was to fear infidelity and to vow never to be cheated by a man. And to guarantee me of that outcome, I read tons of books on how to affair-proof my relationships. Sadly, even my longest relationship ended as a result of affairs perpetrated by my partner and later on by myself. I followed my curiosity with affairs into counseling and psychology. And as part of my graduate training, I started to work with couples and ran a couple of research projects on the other woman and on couples who experience extramarital affairs. Why do people cheat? Why do couples in loving relationships cheat? And how do couples respond to such revelations? And the results I gathered are as cataclysmic as they are today. Today, infidelity is the most frequently cited reason for why marriages end, and those couples who experienced an affair are twice as likely to divorce. Surveys also indicate that the percentage of women who have extramarital sex has increased during the last 4 decades. Given its prevalence and its potential damage for marital relationship, it's not surprising that 30% of couples seek marital therapy in the aftermath of affairs. Clinicians report that the aftermath of infidelity is notoriously challenging to handle in couple therapy. Gender, culture, class, race, sexual orientation, religion, all frame the experience of infidelity and give shape to the pain. For example, not all cultures view extramarital affairs in the same negative light as does the West. In the Philippines, the practice of infidelity may even be seen as an integral way of life in which it is explicitly or implicitly understood that it's permitted, even encouraged for one partner, usually the male, and while heavily penalizing the other, usually the female. It's not uncommon to come across some mention of infidelity either by an elected official or some famous personality. Public disclosures of public figures having extramarital affairs is headline news since affairs are glamorized in movies, novels, and TV shows of all kinds. Even religion is not deterrent to affairs. The country, being predominantly Catholic, still had as the nation's president a man who publicly admitted that he had women and children outside marriage, and despite the censure of the Catholic Church to have him elected to the highest position of the land. But for the vast majority, Belgian couples therapist Esther Perel highlights that the revelation of an affair is eviscerating. If you really want to gut a relationship, to tear out the very heart of it, infidelity is a sure bet. It is betrayal on so many levels: deceit, abandonment, humiliation, rejection, all the things that love promised to protect us from. When the one you relied upon is the one who has lied to your face and treated you as an unworthy basic respect, the world you lived in is turned upside down. And the story of your life is so fractured you can't piece it together. There's so much shock, rage, jealousy inside. And when the anger subsides, it's all pure hurt, disbelief, and then followed by crushing belief. It not only hijacks a couple's hopes and plans, but also draws a question over their history. And it's a direct attack on one of our most important psychic structure, our memory of our past. If we can't look back with any certainty, and we can't know what will happen tomorrow, where does that leave us? For some, the maelstrom of emotions that are unleashed in the wake of an affair is so overwhelming that it is akin to post-traumatic stress disorder. Contemporary psychologists borrow from the field of trauma to explain the symptoms: obsessive ruminations, hypervigilance, dissociation, numbness, inexplicable rage, and uncontrollable panic. Treating infidelity has become a specialty because the experience is so cataclysmic that couples can't manage the emotional fallout alone, and they need intervention if they hope to make it through. I have known infidelity as an observer, a researcher, a hurt partner, a participant of the affair, and as a counselor. The drama of infidelity elicits a plethora of feelings: sympathy, envy, curiosity, and compassion, but also judgment, anger, and disgust. Being emotionally affected is natural, but projections are unhelpful. In the same vein, I'm also encouraged that there can be healing after an affair, and that a marriage can actually get better. There's so many strategies to healing, and while all of them have different names, they have a common denominator. The early stages of post-affair therapy are highly volatile, to say the least, and it's a delicate moment requiring a safe, non-judgmental container for the intensity of emotions that are running wild inside and between them. At this point, they need calmness, clarity, and structure, as well as reassurance and hope. Later on, there will be time to delve into why the affair happened and what role each of them played in the story. And finally, we ask what lies ahead of them, separately or together. The discovery of an affair can be all-consuming, so much so that we forget that it's only one chapter in the larger story of a couple. As a therapist, my task is to help couples catch their breath and relocate themselves in the bigger picture of their relationship, beyond the immediate ordeal. There are things that couples can do. In the beginning, healing lies primarily with the one who had the affair. Acknowledging the wrongdoing and being receptive to the pain of their partner. Expressing guilt and empathy is crucial. And where the partner can help is in resisting self-concern and instead reaffirming her importance and centrality to his life. For the hurt partner, it's essential to engage in self-care that bring back a sense of self-worth, meaning, and identity. It helps to include a strong network of friends and family who are patient and can provide a safe space for the complexity of the situation. Also, a well-developed sense of self or spiritual or religious faith can also mitigate the impact. And if one feels that one has options, there's savings, job prospects, real estate, even dating prospects, if it not only tempers vulnerability, but gives one room to maneuver inside and out. But even more important is to avoid the curiosity to mine for the sordid details, questions that only inflict more pain and keep one awake at night. Instead, ask the questions that yield to the meaning and the motives. What did this affair mean to you? What were you able to express or experience that you could no longer do with me? Esther Perel proposes couples a more nuanced and less judgmental strategy about infidelity. One that embraces curiosity and embraces its complexity and more caring, compassionate for both partners. We do no one service when we reduce affairs to sex, lies, good and bad, perpetrator and victim. She points out that those who engage in affairs are not necessarily looking for a different partner. They're looking for a different self. These are expressions of their longing and loss, a yearning for emotional connection, freedom, autonomy. There are bold attempts to reclaim lost parts of ourselves. If couples can be persuaded to take a more sympathetic, less catastrophic view of infidelity, they would have a better chance of weathering this occurrence. Perel proposes two ways to view affairs: hurt, betrayal on one side, growth and discovery on the other. While affairs can be devastatingly painful to the betrayed partner, understanding what the affair meant and did to the relationship can also be invigorating for marriages. Affairs are many things, but at best they can be transformative for couples.